Flosstube, it's Jessica, aka Daily Stitcher. I'm back with my second Flosstube video and an update for January and my stitchy plans for 2016. I wanted to say thank you to everybody who's taken the time to watch my first video and is hopefully back to watch my second one. I realized I hadn't, oh, hello kitty. Hi, you guys didn't get to see, this is Olaf. I know. Solid black cat, and I named her after a snowman. I think I mentioned in my last video, but we found her in a snowstorm, so that's where she gets her name. Okay, so I realized in my first video I didn't mention the reason behind my screen name. I do that just for a little bit of privacy. I do have children. And my personal Facebook and Instagram and things like that, I put a lot of family stuff up there, a lot of pictures of my children, and I keep my Facebook and everything private, so only my friends and family can see it. And I actually will put on there, hey, we're gonna go and do this weekend, who wants to come? So I give out a lot of locations and things along those lines. It's like, hey, we're going to be at the drive-in on Friday night. This is the location in the movie. You guys want to come? So just for security purposes, because of my children, I do have everything set up for Flosstube to be under a different email account and under a different name. So you guys know my first name. It's Jessica. Everybody calls me Jess or Jessie. That's fine. But my personal things I've left under my original name. Hi. Wow, you hear me talking to strangers. Is that it? And you think I'm just crazy and talking to myself. Hi. So yes, if you would like to find me anywhere, Daily Stitcher is what I use. I've set everything up under Daily Stitcher, including Instagram and Facebook. I'm pretty active on Instagram. I try to do an update, you know, every week or so whenever I see that there's some progress that's being made that I think somebody might be interested in. My Facebook right now, it's not very active. It just has anything that I've linked from my Instagram account over there. But I know there are some people who prefer Facebook and don't actually use Instagram. So if you would like to follow me there, so feel free. I just thought I would throw that out there. So I'm going to do some of my January update. I've only worked on 2 of my whips. That's really all I have going right now. And the first one I did is my European Bistro by Dimensions. It's a gold kit. I've snagged my son's iPad here, so I thought this would be an easier way to show you guys what the finished product will actually look like. This is the image for European Bistro because I don't have the packaging for it anymore. And I just thought this would be easier than trying to cut and edit the film to insert photos all the time. So, and then here is my project as of now. So I don't have a photo of where it was last time you saw it, and I'll try to get better about taking a photo after I do a video. But what I worked on is this bit down here. So I didn't have the bottom half of the chairs or anything underneath the table. So kind of this whole area has been filled in. I did a little bit on the windows and the flowers up here, but the main thing I did was all the back stitching about this section. So I do my back stitching as I go just because there's so much of it on one of these kits. When I get done with it, I would like to be done instead of saying, oh, I'm done, but I have 6 more days worth of back stitching. And there's so much of it, it also helps me keep my place on where I'm at. So I just try not to get too close. Like anything over here, I won't stitch anything over here back stitching wise until all the crosses are in. So that's where I'm at right now. And I've kind of set this down for a little bit and worked on my second project. There we go. This is a freebie design that Heaven and Earth put out in August or September. It's not available as a freebie anymore, but you can still get the full-size image. It's a Hannah Lynn Ice Princess, and this is the full size of the freebie. So the actual design that's still available from Hannah Lynn is a lot larger than this. So that's what the finished project will be. And then this is where I'm at right now. I don't know if you can tell, but that right there is another page finished. So that's what I got done this month. I would say, again, I did not take a photo and I got to work on that, but 2 columns, I think I was about here. So I finished those 2 full columns, and now I'm going to start working on this bottom section. And then once I finish up this, it's like 4 rows across, or 4 rows down. So it's only a half a page. And then I'll get started up here at the top and work my way down. So there you go, my little owl. I love the colors in this. I'm using waist knots, that's what you see way over here. And my own little version of parking. Just because of the amount of confetti I mentioned here last month, I don't park in a traditional 10 by 10 grid. I start at the top of the column, pick up my parked thread, and I work all the way to the bottom of the page, and then I park it at the next one. Just because I found I was, especially in some of these trees, it was really bad. I would have maybe 1 or 2 stitches of each color in a 10 by 10. And then I was parking it and rethreading my needle. And I just wasn't seeing the progress. So I've started doing it this way all the way down a page, and it seems to work a lot better. I'm seeing progress on it. And then this little bit right here, I had him already done his tail last time you saw it, just while I was trying to figure out what works best for me for parking. I had gone all the way down to the bottom. So I'm hoping that this month I will definitely finish up this page and then have quite a bit of progress up here. So, all right, so that's what I've got done for progress. Not quite as much as I wanted to see this month. We've had quite a few doctor's appointments and stuff for my daughter. She's been having some foot pain. And they're not sure what was causing it. So we've been to the doctor and had x-rays and been put on rest and ibuprofen, and then referred to a specialist. She took more x-rays. They thought there was possibly a fracture in her foot, although they couldn't see it on the x-rays. So just to be safe, better safe than sorry, they put her in a cast for a week while we waited for MRIs and results. And the MRI confirmed there's no fracture, thank goodness, but they think that now she has either plantar fasciitis or tendonitis, and or a combination of both, which is pretty unusual in a child her age. She's 13. She'll be 14 in March. So they said that's pretty uncommon, but she's also a pretty active dancer. She does modern dance, jazz dance, ballet, and then she's also started the last year and a half. She's on point shoes. So she dances about 7.5 hours a week, which is really hard on your feet. So they said that could be a contributing factor in the cause of it. But again, they're guessing. That was their best guess based on the MRI and the only thing that they saw, which was an edema and fluid buildup along her plantar fascia. So I'm not a doctor. I don't understand everything, but they've recommended physical therapy and as much foot rest, I guess, not bed rest. I mean, she doesn't have to be bedridden, but as much rest as we can give her foot for the next 4 to 6 weeks. So that means no dancing, no gym class, things along those lines. She's kind of off limits. She can't wear any of her pretty shoes anymore. I think that's one of the most devastating things to her. She can't do her dance class, and she can't wear any of her pretty shoes. She got a brand new pair of cowboy boots and a brand new pair of Uggs for Christmas, and she can't wear them. The doctor said she needs to have sneakers with good inserts in them, good support system. So, yeah, we're just waiting right now for the insurance to approve our referral paperwork to get into the therapist. So that's taken up a lot of our schedule. Oh, hold on just a moment. My kids are home. Okay, sorry about that. It might be a little bit louder now. My son is home. He's going to go, and he's got some friends going to play. But they're going to be running in and out of the house, I'm sure. So it might get a little bit loud. I'm sorry. But if I don't do this now, I won't ever actually get it done. So, okay. So I was talking about my daughter. She's fine. I mean, we're just waiting right now. They've got, a diagnosis, they think, and a treatment system they think is going to work for her. So it's just taken up a lot of our evenings, the hospital, Children's Mercies, where we've been going for the specialist and orthopedics. they've been really good about working with us on the scheduling and trying to get us in the evenings, late afternoon appointments, so we're not missing a lot of school. But that means, you know, there's some days we're not home until 6, 7 o'clock at night. So it cuts into a lot of the stitching time. So I can't wait for this to be kind of back on a regular schedule. I mean, even if we're doing the therapy at the evening, at least we'll have a regular schedule and we'll know kind of when we're going to be home, and I can kind of get back to my routine, because I don't know, cross stitching is what I do to relax me. It de-stresses me and helps me unwind after a long day. So that's my January update. If that's all that you wanted to stop and watch, I appreciate it. I want to say thank you again. I'll probably be back in about 2 weeks and try to do another stitchy tag along with some of my progress. But if you want to stick around right now, what I was going to do is show you some of my plans and hopes and dreams for 2016. So I've made some rough plans and some ideas of what I would like to get done this year. And the first thing is finishing my Haid and then starting a new one. So I think with my first Haid, I jumped in feet first, all the way in, deep end, which is great, and I have no problem with that, and I love it, and it's turning out great. But I do find it a little frustrating and difficult sometimes, just working with so many colors. I think if I had started with a slightly simpler pattern, that I might have worked on it a little bit faster. I don't know. So my thought is to do another Haid, but maybe not something quite as large, and so, or not as confetti ridden. So this is what I am thinking about starting next. This is one of my ideas, and this is called Night Wish by Annie Rodriguez, and this is the mini version. And the mini, I think, was still 9 by 13, 9 by 11. It was still very large. And this one only has 44 colors, whereas the one I'm doing now has 87. So I thought this was gorgeous. Some of the things I love, her open back and that braid with her crown, and look at the castle in the back. And then that train. That's just glorious. I love it. So the other one I thought about doing here, this is Snow by Maxine Gadd. And again, just glorious. I love it. I love the way she's looking down. Makes me think there's something a little bit sad going on. So this one only has 27 colors, which again, I thought probably would have been a much smarter place for me to start with my first Haid. But, and for a penny and for a pound. This one though, hello kitty. This one does call for acrylic to be used, which is why I thought I might go ahead and do this one. I'm undecided, and I have plenty of time before I need to figure it out. But this one has more colors. This one has acrylic. I'm just going to have to wait until this one's finished and then see which one I would rather work on, a princess or a fairy. Which are both typically out of my, you know, those aren't normally typically things I would choose. So it's rather interesting, I think, to see where I'm headed with my project wishes for the year. The next thing I would like to do is finish up my dimensions kit, and I have a couple of ideas for what I would like to get started on after that. I don't want to have too many large projects, so I won't start them all at once, but my options and choices. This is Paris Market. It's another Dimensions Gold kit. I picked it up on clearance at either Hobby Lobby or Michael's for, I think, $15 or $20. It was very cheap, considering. And I really like the look of this. It looks like it could almost be seen from directly across the street from the European Bistro. Like when you're sitting at a cafe and looking out, this is what you see. So I thought these would look really nice sitting somewhere in a room together, hanging up. But I'm not sure if I want to, the half stitches, especially the ones with lots of numbers of floss, I find those difficult and tedious to work on. So I might take a break from the dimensions But that is my one and only piece of stash. This is the only thing that I have in my stash file. I don't consider floss stash because I just have a partial, not even a partial, I have a very limited collection of DMCs. I have what I'm using for my Haid, and then when I was at Walmart one day, I found a bunch of their flosses were on sale for clearance, 10 cents. 10 cents a skein. So I bought one of each color. And that's all I own. So about 20 flosses, or 20 different colors, plus the 80 or so that are in my Haid. So that's it. Everything else I have is a project that is actually being worked on. So, okay, the next thing I wanted to work on, or one of the next ideas I had, was a Satsuma Street. This is actually one of the things that got me back into cross-stitching. It's what gave me the desire to pick my Dimensions kit back up, because like I said, that's 2 or 3 years old right now, and I haven't worked on it at least in a year and a half until recently. So I was looking around Pinterest and trying to find some crafts or something to do, and I came across this and I just thought it was beautiful. This is unlike any of the cross-stitching I remember seeing as a kid. It's so modern and the bright, vibrant colors. I loved it. And so I started looking around for tips and techniques. This wasn't a pattern, and that's all I had ever known. I had the misconstrued idea that to cross-stitch something like this that didn't have a pattern, you needed to be, you know, an expert. You needed to be cross-stitching for years. You had to have an entire DMC collection. And I didn't do any of those things. So I was looking for tips and techniques and how to improve my stitching so that I could be good enough to do this, which, I mean, I realize now that's completely insane. This isn't a pattern that you have to be an expert for. I don't think there's really any patterns out there that, even as a beginner, if you have a desire to do, that you shouldn't try. It might take you longer. It might be difficult, but it's not, there's nothing out there that you couldn't do. So my favorites are London, Paris, and San Francisco. So I would like to have all of these hanging up somewhere in my house, probably not in the round hoop frames. I would probably put them in square frames and kind of make a gallery wall with some other artwork. The only city that I've actually been to that Satsuma Street has charted right now is New York. And I would love to stitch that. I just think the coloring on that one is so far different than the coloring on these other ones that when they're hung on a wall kind of side by side, that it kind of sticks out. It stands out by itself. It doesn't blend in the same way. So I'm not sure that I want to actually stitch New York at this point. I'm hoping maybe as some of the other patterns, they make more and more, we'll see some that have less of the bright colors and more of the, I don't know. I mean, it makes sense. New York is skyscrapers and metal and glass and stuff like that. It should be all the blues. It makes sense for the city, but I don't think it would make sense when it's sitting on a wall as a collection. I don't think the color scheme works. So hopefully, I noticed DC has a lot more blues in it. So maybe something like that. But I'm thinking, you know, Amsterdam, that's another one. Italy, I would like to do. Those are all bright colors again. So I'm not sure that New York is on my plan for right now, but I'm kind of sad. That's the only one I've been to. I would like to have it charted up and put on my wall somewhere. So I will wait and see what else they do. So let's see. The other thing I wanted to start or work on was something with a lot of specialty stitches. I've been seeing everybody work on, of course, this Twisted Rainbow. I know I'm a little bit late to the party. Everybody's already done this. But I like the diagonal design of it, and all the specialty stitches intrigue me. I'm not sure that I love the color progression like this. It's a little bit bright for me, which I know is a complete contradiction since I said I love the brightness of this. But something about it, I don't necessarily love the color progression on here. And I would put it on white fabric instead of black. So I thought about doing like the Lovely Array did, and just selecting some of my own colors and doing this with something a little bit less bright, maybe more muted pastels or more of a color scheme, like a fall color scheme, so that they're all more related. But while I was looking around for specialty stitch designs on 123 Stitch, I came across this, and it's called Diagonal by Seba Designs. I don't think I've seen anybody showing this chart off or working on it. There we go. That's the whole thing. So it's all specialty stitches. It doesn't look like there's as many necessarily as the Twisted Rainbow. But what I love about this is the way the color progression goes. And so maybe I'll do the Twisted Rainbow in more this color scheme. There we go. So I'm just worried, being so new, that maybe starting a chart that large with that many specialty stitches is maybe getting it a little bit over my head again. So I don't know. I'd love to hear from you guys if you would leave a comment below. Do you know of any other samplers or specialty stitch designs out there that are really good for beginners? That would be a good starting point. I know Northern Expression Needles Works. They have a beginner sampler, but it's got the alphabet in it. I'm sorry, I can't speak. So it's charted with the full alphabet in it, and that's not really necessarily something I would like to do. So I thought about maybe doing that beginner sampler and taking the alphabet out and just doing it as the different specialty bands side by side. But then it seems kind of like, why am I paying for a full chart if I'm throwing half of it away? So maybe you guys know of some other charts similar to these styles that would work well with specialty stitches and are more of I'm sorry, my cat today is freaking out. It's like 60 degrees out, so we've got all the windows open, and she's just running around the house from window to window, looking at all the fresh air outside. She's not an outdoor cat, so I can't let her go out and play, but she thinks she's an outdoor cat, and so she's sitting in all of the windows, staring out the screens, and just breathing in the fresh air. So I'm sorry, she's distracting me. Okay, so specialty stitches, if you guys know of any patterns that are good for beginners, or, you know, if you've stitched the Twisted Sampler, the Twisted Rainbow, and you know that it's not that difficult, it's not too hard or anything like that, and you're like, oh, this would be easy, go ahead and jump in, it's great for beginners, let me know that too, because I'd be really interested in that. That was the design I liked the first. So, and then the last pattern that I have that I would like to do, I'd like to set up some smalls that I could have kind of at each of my stitchy spots, so that no matter where I'm at, I've got a project that's ready to go. And I thought some ornaments would be good. These are Satsuma Street again, and this is 12 days. And this is, again, something I really haven't seen anybody working on or showing off on their Flosstube videos. Hello, kitty. See, now she's distracting you guys too. Okay. So, there we go. I just like, they're kind of something retro and antique about them. But the bright colors and all, again, it makes it more of a modern. So, if I stitch these, I would do it just like they do. I would stitch them up and individually finish them and make them into ornaments to put on a tree. I think it would be really cool. Molly Peckham had mentioned in one of her older videos having a Christmas tree just of handmade ornaments. And I like that. Every year I try to, with the kids, make something handmade and put on the tree. So I've got quite a few already. And they just kind of get lost with all of the decorations. So to have a second tree, I think, would be gorgeous. But besides those Satsuma ornaments, I would like to get just one of the cross-stitch Christmas books or magazines. And then get like a grab bag, maybe a fabric from 123 Stitch or something that's got a variety of linen and even weave and different counts and different brands. Just because I don't have a lot of experience with the different materials, I would like to kind of practice and mess around with them so that when I'm placing an order, I actually know what it is I'm buying, and I can know what my preferences are and what my favorites are and things like that. So I would like to have a collection, or not a collection, but get a small stash of fabrics together, just even mini scrap pieces of fabric, and then do some little ornaments or something on them. So that's kind of all of my plans for 2016. I don't know that I'll necessarily stick to them. If something else comes along and jumps out at me, I might replace something with something new, but so that's what my plans were. I would love to hear if you guys have any thoughts on the specialty stitches, especially if you're still here. Please leave a comment and let me know. I would like to get something like that started. That's all I have for you today. Thank you for sticking around and watching if you've made it this long, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.